Hi, and welcome to CSB Television's one-year anniversary. On May 29th, 2020, we uploaded our very first video onto our platform. Our first show ever produced writer-to-writer interviews, and our first episode was uploaded on May 29th, 2020, and from there we began CSB Television. Since then, we have produced a total of 9 shows, a short film, and a children's theater play reading. We are excited to be entering our second year of production. We are going to show you just a few clips of our very first episodes of each show. Starting off is Writer to Writer Interviews, our first show. And we have author Dakari interviewing me as I also interview him. This is the very first episode of Writer to Writer Interviews. Let's listen. First of all, tell me a little bit about yourself as far as being a writer.
Besides being a writer, I'm a family man. I believe in loyalty. I study a lot on spirituality and history. Trying to find, I'm trying to find answers to questions that most people don't ask.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I'm a nerd at heart, so I love to learn. And I like making people happy.
That's good. So, when did you start writing Gorillas in the Bay, and explain the title, what inspired the title?
Okay, well, I originally wrote Gorillas in the Bay 2000, and I started in 2007. I tend to procrastinate a lot of times. So the book drawn on. But to make the long story short, I finally finished it and started typing it on the USB, and I had it all complete. And unfortunately, I threw away the written pages and damaged my USB.
Oh goodness.
I had the prologue, and I had the last chapter, and I rewrote it all in December 2016. And but the title's interesting because the book that I wrote and the title didn't go hand in hand. It was initially called something else, but by the time I finished the story, because I may have an idea for a book and I'll start writing it, but the story tells itself in my head. So it changed so much that by the time I was done, that title no longer fit the story. I don't know if that makes sense, if you're familiar with that, but
that has happened to me a few times.
yeah.
What I planned to write, when I started writing, it didn't. Something else wrote itself.
Yeah, and I tend to see that, like, so far, it makes my book better.
Yes.
Instead of trying to keep it on board, I let it write itself and tell itself, and it makes the books better. And although the world is just now getting familiar with Gorillas in the Bay, so it's just one series or one book, I've actually written 9.
Oh wow.
So they're coming out. They're coming out a little slower, but I have a unique handwriting, and then getting it typed up and then edit it and re-edit it. My rewrite took time until I found the app on Google that allows you to transfer handwriting to type.
Oh, okay.
It just speeds the process. But my editor, my publisher, and members of my team helped me come up with the new title.
You can listen to the entire show along with our other episodes of Writer to Writer Interviews right here on CSB Television. The next show that we produced was The Artist Within. This show was inspired by an artist I saw on Instagram, Colin Dark, who is an ambidextrous artist who can draw and paint with both hands at the same time. I decided I really wanted to meet him while virtually and talk to him and ask him questions. Here is just a small section of the show. So technically, are you ambidextrous? And when did you find out you could draw with both hands technically at the same time?
So technically, yes. When I was, again, like going back to when I was 5 or 6, I didn't know what handed I was for a long time because I guess I was ambidextrous. Um, and I had teachers try to like focus me on my right hand, but I was always pretty comfortable with my left hand. And so if I'm drawing with my right hand and it got tired, or if I'm painting with my right hand and I got tired, I would just switch to my left. And that was the same with like some handwriting or playing a particular sport, not really thinking anything of it. And then my probably back in this past November, my wife, we were commenting with my mom, who watches our kids sometimes, about how my youngest son, who's 6, keeps switching back and forth when he writes. And then my mom was like, "Oh yeah, Colin used to do that a lot too." And then she mentioned how when she was younger, like she would write, like she would switch off too. And then my wife was like, "Oh wow, that's amazing. I like wonder why you can't do it now." To me, I'm like, "Oh, I can do it. I can draw just as well with my left than my right." She didn't believe me, so then I started drawing, and then that's when I started posting it.
Amazing, isn't it? Well, you can watch the rest of that show right here on CSB Television, along with our other episodes of The Artist Within. Our next show that I produce is Plant Life Moments. Plant Life Moments is a vegan lifestyle show that features different shows such like Health Nut, where we share information on how to be a healthy vegan, Vining, where we show you vegan dining, and a bunch of other segments. There are a bunch of episodes that you can watch, but right now we're only going to look at one segment from the very first episode, Health Nuts. Let's take a look. This is your Health Nut moment. Did you know that milk does not do a body good? In fact, there are many negative side effects that milk can have on your body. Milk is said to be healthy because of the nutrients that's in it. But do you know where those nutrients originate? They come from plants that the cows eat. Cow's milk is for baby cows. As you may know, mammals are the only creatures on Earth, the only living beings on Earth that cannot consume their parents' food. So their mother has to feed them her milk until they have the teeth and a mature and a developed digestive system so that they can eat solid foods. The nutrient that the mother gives them through their milk comes from the plants that she eats. We as humans can eat fruits and vegetables, seeds and nuts and grains that are high in calcium. Some, just a few, not a lot, of those foods you can eat that are high in calcium, in fact, have a lot more calcium in them than a glass of milk. Collard greens, spinach, turnip greens, kale, mustard greens, beet greens, pak choi, Swiss chard, sweet potatoes, okra, onions, avocados, Brazil nuts, almonds, sesame seeds, celery, and green beans, and of course, so much more. Drinking milk can cause some negative side effects such as acne. It may worsen eczema and can be a trigger for rosacea. It can cause allergies, constipation, colic, and diarrhea. Other serious known reactions to milk are wheezing, difficulty breathing, bloody stool. Drinking 3 or more glasses of milk a day may increase the risk of bone fractures in women. Milk can also lead to prostate or ovarian cancer. Other side effects include nausea, abdominal pain, and abdominal bloating. So you do not need milk to get your nutrients. You can simply eat the fruits and vegetables or the plants, similar to the cows and the other vegan animals that get their nutrients through the plants. It has been your Health Nut moment. I'm Casey Bell. We'll be right back. This is your Health Nut moment. Informative, right? The next show that we did, Seeds of Pain, which was a mini small series, TV series, dramatic series. It was only 5 episodes. For now, maybe I will continue it. But it was only 5 episodes, and each episode was short and to the point. And right now we're going to show you just a tad little bit of the very first episode. Take a look at Seeds of Pain.
Welcome to Seeds of Pain Therapy Group. My name is Matthew, and I am your moderator. I realized that all of us had crappy childhoods and seeds of pain.
I don't understand why you people talk like you don't have schools in your neighborhood.
Yo, what do you mean, you people?
You black people.
Yo, what the?
That's enough. Stop it, both of you. But all I know, the only thing I remember is seeing him and waking up with my hands handcuffed to a hospital bed.
Dramatic, right? Just so you're aware, Seeds of Pain is for ages 18 and older, so make sure you are of an age before you watch the other episodes. That's right here on CSB Television. The next show we produced and created, Musical Interlude, was inspired by an email I received from an agent asking me if I wanted to interview one of his clients. He is the artist. At the time, I didn't have a show for musicians, so I created one called Musical Interlude. Here is just a small tidbit of our interview together, the very first episode of Musical Interlude. Here is He is the Artist. What was your earliest memory of getting into music and realizing you had some type of musical talent?
Well, I started out singing in the choir. You know, I'm big in the church, but actually, probably in high school. So I basically started in high school. My concert choir teacher, Mr. Anthony, he was a wonderful choir director. You know, really got on us and really had us singing, and I really enjoyed it. You know, he was definitely a big influence in me starting my music career. And actually, that was Central High School. You know, so that was my high school on Long Island.
The next show that I produced, The Ready Writer, was inspired by Writer to Writer's Interview, the very first show that's on CSB Television. Unfortunately, when I decided to make changes to Writer interviews, things weren't going as planned, and I still wanted to have a platform where I can speak to writers and writers can get their selves out there. So that's when I decided to create the Ready Writer. Ready Writer is similar to Writer interviews, except the writer doesn't actually have to interview anyone. It's just me interviewing the writer. Let's take a look at our very first episode, which aired November 1st with Linwood Jackson. Let's listen. What said, hey, I should do this, I should take this journey of publishing my poems into a book? What was the inspiration and the encouragement? Because a lot of people want to do it, but they're making reasons as to why they can't. So what was the empowerment that told you you can do this and you should do it?
I guess the weight of knowing that there's someone on this planet going through what I'm going through, but having no one to talk to. Or there's someone on this planet going through something I'm going through and they're losing their mind because they think they're the only ones on earth going through it. So that was really the main function. I debated with myself, because initially my writings are research based on the philosophy within the Bible. So what I'm writing about is actually disproving what the Christian religion actually teaches. And so what I was finding was something more alleviating than what is traditionally taught. So it was, should I actually do this? I'm getting benefit from it. And if it was really supposed to be discovered thousands of years ago, it would have been by now. So clearly there's contentment with whatever's going on. So why should I care to disrupt that contentment? Mm-hmm. And then another thing, clicked in my head. Well, then if I'm not content, there's somebody else on earth that's not content. And I really don't want anyone else to feel discontent with their existence as I felt. So that was really the main motivation, my consideration of anyone else having the same thoughts as me or going through the same experience of me.
The next show that I produced, The Gold Mine, was inspired by people I know. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, and I thought to start a show to feature them on. Unfortunately, none of them have come on the show yet. They've not made their appointment to be on the show, but I did get a chance to meet some other great entrepreneurs. Let's take a look at our very first episode of The Gold Mine with Riggs Eggleberry. What was your first challenge that you came across starting the road of entrepreneurship?
By far, the worst one was capital. I got myself way deep in Manhattan with like 12 people on payroll and cash flowing the whole business. I was doing computerizing companies in Manhattan. And at the time, everybody was being computerized. And really what ended up happening is that I lost faith in doing that because I didn't realize how much, let's say you get a company for the first time, you computerize them, well, you're going to keep them for maybe 20 years. And I didn't really fully realize that. And so I was looking at these incredibly tough implementations and going, this is ridiculous. So long story short is that I ended up giving that company to my best salesman, and he's a multimillionaire today. So, good for him. And that's really when I decided I needed to know more about how, just maybe learn before doing a little bit. And I spent the next few years learning a lot about marketing and business. And then I ended up in the .com, which was amazing. So big learning experience in the 80s, cash flow problems, discouragement, which really was unnecessary, just really wasn't looking far enough in the future. And I think that's a big lesson is what about your business model can have a long-term annuity, a long-term cash flow from from customers, and get that business model. Don't just sell something and go away. That's really, really hard.
This next show was started again similar to Musical Interlude. I had someone emailing me asking me if they were interested in interviewing them, and they said they were an actor and a voice over actor, and I didn't have a show at that moment in time where I could interview them. So I created The Show Must Go On for anyone in the entertainment business of any caliber. So our first episode of The Show Must Go On features Steve Foster, an actor and a voice actor. Let's take a listen at our interview together. Hello and welcome to The Show Must Go On, a show where I get to speak with people in show business. Today's guest is Steve Foster. He is an actor of film and television. Let's take a listen. When did you first realize acting was something you were interested in?
It kind of came over time. I used to be way more of a background person. I did, the technical behind the scenes and stage crew stuff like that. And part of that process was just getting over the fear of being on stage or in front of people, and all the things that go through your head. You're thinking, what if I screw up? What if they laugh? What if, when they're not supposed to? So yeah, it was just a process over time. And actually, I was encouraged by others. It wasn't really something that I necessarily sought out to do with my life.
This last show that was produced in our first year was inspired by my own experience of being in customer service for 17 years. I wanted to add something different to CSB Television, being that most of the shows are interview shows. And that's when I came up with the idea to create a one-man comedy show called The Customer Is Usually Wrong. In each episode, we take a look at something a customer has done that is, wrong. And I get the chance to make you laugh and hopefully cause you to think differently as a customer and think differently in customer service. Let's take a look at the very first episode of The Customer Is Usually Wrong, which aired December 7th. Yes, next please. Hi, how may I help you?
Yes, I'm here to pick up my tickets for the Oogly Brothers.
Oh, that show is canceled. We sent out an email and we also sent out a phone call. Did you not receive them?
I did not receive no phone call or no email. Why didn't y'all call me?
My apologies. What's your last name?
Rye, R-Y-E.
Oh, ma'am, unfortunately, we do not have your phone number or your email. If you'd like, you can give it to me now so this doesn't happen again.
No, I don't give out my phone number. It's private, and I never give out my email because I don't want y'all emailing me like 20 times a day.
But, well, then that would be the reason why we didn't contact you, because we don't actually have your contact information because you chose not to give it to us.
Someone should have contacted me once y'all knew the show was canceled.
Right, but we don't have your contact information, so we can't contact you. We don't have your address in here. We could have sent you a letter. We don't have anything, so we can't contact people without contact information. But you can give us your contact information now, and then if a show is ever canceled again in the future, we can contact you. So would you like to provide me with at least one of your contact information?
I told you I don't give out any of my contact information. It is all private. Don't you understand?
So then we can't contact you.
Why can't y'all contact me?
Seriously? The customer is usually wrong. Well, that is all the shows that were premiered in 2020 for CSB Television. However, we do want to take note of two other productions that was done. First was Don't Rush, which is a short film which was filmed via Zoom as well as video phone cameras. And it's a short film about a young man who decides to take it easy and not to rush into not only marriage but into parenthood. And the second production was The Day the Rainbow Broke Up, which is a children's theater play reading of my play, The Day the Rainbow Broke Up. I had a chance to meet some great actors, and we got together via Zoom to produce this play reading. Everything, all the shows you've seen today, along with Don't Rush and The Day the Rainbow Broke Up, is still available here on CSB Television, so when you have the time, take the time to view our channel. I am so excited that we are in our first year, entering our second year, and all of the fun that I've had during this time and lessons that I learned have been amazing, and I'm so excited to go into year 2 for more shows and more films. As of now, all of the shows are still running, and we do have a new show coming up where I get to speak to athletes and those in the sports business. That's coming in season 2. I sure hope you are going to come with us in season 2 as we continue to celebrate CSB Television and unique and different television programming. Thank you again for watching our first year anniversary video, and I sure hope to see you in year 2. Thank you so much for watching.